We're here with A's reliever Zach Jackson. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
We're doing well. A little chillier than
Yeah.
normal here in the Valley of the Sun.
Yeah, I think it's actually colder here than when I left home in Arkansas, so it was definitely bizarre.
So for you, what a year! I think you had to. I think you had to really step back this off season and go, "Wow, you accomplished a lot. You got to really where you wanted to be as a professional."
Yeah, I think that one obviously was just super glad to be with this organization, finally getting my opportunity, and getting that chance last year to do what every kid dreams of, and then obviously getting an off season, to reflect on how that went. Maybe get to reestablish myself again this year, but at the same time, just trying to make sure, that I take my routines into the off season, maybe put in that extra work this year so I can make it through the year healthy. Different things that I learned this year that hopefully I can continue taking into future years and just keep growing.
Let's talk about the positives. What are the biggest positives you took away from last season?
I think there's a mental aspect of facing guys, you haven't got the opportunity to face, that you've been watching for years, and actually getting to face those guys straight up and seeing your stuff's good enough to get them out. I think from a confidence aspect, that's huge. I think seeing that my stuff played up there was great. You talk about, I guess, up until September when I ended up going down with an injury, it was nice being able to, go out there when the team needed me, fall into a little bit more of a leverage role. And, for the most part, I feel like I did fairly well in that. So hopefully looking to do the same this year.
And also something for you is once you're in the big leagues, you're going to start facing the same guys. That can kind of change a little bit in the minor leagues. In the big leagues, you've now faced the Angels or the Rangers or the Astros X amount of times. And knowing that you can get the same guys out multiple times had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I think that definitely come like August when you feel like you go in those stretches where it's like, all right, we're facing these division guys. It just seems like it's just rotating over and over again. I'm facing the same three guys that I faced last week, and that aspect is nice because it becomes a little bit of a chess game, and they know your stuff, maybe some of the holes in their swings, and you really start trying to attack each other in those holes, and it really becomes fun from that aspect. But again, it goes back to a confidence thing when that they've seen you before, how good of a hitter they are, you've seen them have success in this league, and to still be able to perform well against those guys that you're facing consistently is definitely a big motivator.
And then the offseason, would you think, okay, I could have done this better?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was not being able to pitch in September. That was obviously really frustrating. Rookie year, I was pretty happy with where I was at, and just couldn't quite turn the corner at the end of the year to try to get out there. But at the same time, I think the walk numbers obviously is something, this off season, talking to, Kotz and Emo and things that if there are things to work on, it's getting that number down. Obviously in the eighth inning, it's not something you want is to, let a guy on base for no reason when, if he beats you, that's one thing, but beating yourself is another. I think that goes back to, maybe that confidence, just being able to attack guys, no matter, who they are. I think those are two of the biggest things for me is, kind of prioritize my health this off season, make sure I, refunction some routines that I did to make sure that, I could last the whole year this year. And also just making sure I'm attacking the zone, being aggressive, and just kind of letting my stuff play.
Yeah, it's so funny when you talk to people about, when you come in the game. You mentioned leverage innings, but also late in the game. There is something different about the eighth. You pitched in the ninth. There's something different about those outs.
Yeah. I think that definitely, obviously, just the stigma around the ninth, as a reliever coming up, it's like you want to close in the big league. It's like there's nothing better than that. But yeah, obviously threw in a lot of eighth innings. I know that, for a guy like Danny as well, who was younger, getting a lot of those ninth innings. And, it's just nice for us, again, going back to that confidence thing as rookies. It was something where we wanted to establish ourselves. We got that, confidence from Kotz and Emo to go out in those situations. I think that was a bigger thing. And so I think kind of once we fell into that role, you have a little more adrenaline and you just kind of want to go out there and succeed every time you can. But it definitely is different when you're having those eighth and ninth innings, especially when it's tie ball game where you got the lead.
I see closing in your future. Do you?
I hope so. Like I said, at this point, I'd realize that the guys we have back there, are all great. Hopefully seeing Danny back, he's looked healthy to this point. So I think all of us, if we're throwing leverage innings back there, having success, it's really tough to, root against each other. It's just trying to win ball games.
And let's end on this. When we get back to Oakland, we will talk some SEC football. And this year it's going to be like Oklahoma and Texas. It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
Now, Oklahoma and Texas, they wrote the big check to the Big 12 to say, we're out of here. Is it just going to be weird the way the whole landscape is, especially your SEC, the way it's changing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how these divisions divide up. Like I said, I grew up an OU fan and went to Arkansas for college, so those are not games I'm looking forward to. Family's all big OU fans, so the whole aspect I was kind of upset about they're coming over, but it's significantly going to be the best conference in college football now, so I think that kind of solidifies it.
And it's crazy the money they're talking about, the TV money. I mean, did you see? Did you start to see what that was like when you were playing there? Like all this cash is coming in. The facilities are incredible.
Yeah, obviously, I saw it through the facilities. Obviously, you see it through the fans. Compared to maybe we play non-conference games in other places. I was obviously before NIL. I think that probably would have been the other aspect because even baseball is starting to fall into NIL money, and you don't really see that. Hardly anywhere if it doesn't fall on, maybe like a social media star or something. So I think that is another aspect you look at. It's like, wow, baseball guys, are getting NIL deals, making money for the school, doing these kind of things. So it's definitely, I think, far and away kind of carrying away as the conference to want to be in. But obviously, I'm a little biased.
Hey, we appreciate you stopping by. Great health this spring. Can't wait to see you back in Oakland.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.